guys, welcome back to the 8th episode of the podcast.
I think so.
Yeah,
8th or 7th or something like
seventh
that.
was last week, so it's
so it's
this
8th.
week, but 8th. It's 8th. This one is a little bit about, well, it's a lot about women in the film industry and just women in STEM in general. So it's gonna be a pretty fun.
Introduce yourself, host.
Oh, I am the host. My name is Violet. If you don't already remember me from like the past 8 episodes.
Yeah. I'm co-hosting. I also sound a little sick because I am. So, yeah.
Anyways, I wrote so much for this. Basically, I put up a poll on my Insta. If any of you saw it, I was asking about what people will basically what women in STEM or women in the workplace or just women in general have been told by other people, mainly men, like about how good they are at something or how they shouldn't be doing something because they are a woman. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. And I got a lot of good replies from that. Not a ton. I kind of wish I got more because I know there's more out there. I think people were
Me
just
too.
I think people just didn't see it because it was a day before this aired. So
Yeah, I posted it on like 3 different platforms and nobody responded. So
yeah, I posted on all 4 of my accounts: my film account, my spam, my private, and Facebook, and my main and Snapchat. So and Discord. So
and there's maybe like what 4 responses.
yeah, there's like 4. And yeah, but like it's pretty interesting. I mean, I guess we could start with that.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's start with that. Let's start with other people's stories.
So these are some stories from people in our community.
Let me put my phone on silent. Sorry, guys.
One person they were saying that they work as a code teacher and they got told by one of their students to go back to the kitchen.
Yeah, that's a common one that I actually hear a lot as a woman. Even outside of like work, just at school or in any daily conversation, that joke comes up a lot. People seem to think it's really funny, specifically teenage boys. You're not funny. That's a very overused joke.
Yeah, also 'cause
not original. You could do better.
yeah, like women are not just your meal preparers. Like go learn how to cook. That one I find funny because if you're a code teacher, like, girl, you already be doing so much.
Exactly.
Oh, and this one's pretty this one's another one from someone here at Tahoma who said that a guy friend in their robotics team said to them, "Wow, you're actually good for a girl."
Another common term that is heard a lot.
Yeah,
Love
we're
that.
good for a girl. Just because we're a girl does not mean that we can't be as good as a man. Does not mean that we could be better than a man.
Exactly.
This one's kind of long, but I got this from a friend of a friend. It's not necessarily entirely related to STEM, but they said that they were talking to a friend in their robotics team, not our school, luckily, and they expressed their opinion on an F1 driver to another one of their members in the robotics team. And the guy went, "Oh, really? I bet you don't even watch F1. Prove it. What's DRS?" And then when they answered correctly, he said, "You're a woman. You don't get to like racing."
Interesting. I feel like that same thing goes with like stigma against like just women liking sports,
Yeah.
especially with like football or anything like that. Like, yeah, you could probably say that majority of women don't know a whole lot about football, but there's definitely still women out there that enjoy the sport and like watching it.
Yeah.
Like at Tahoma, we actually have a flag football team that it's not all season and they only go for like a couple practices and it's like seniors versus juniors, but we still have a flag football team that always gets like so many players. Like we have like maybe a group of like 40 to 50 girls entirely like signed up for the program.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I don't like it's the same with like people being like, "Oh, girls only watch the Super Bowl for Taylor Swift." Like, no, we don't. I watch that for the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look like a sports fan, and nor do I really am a sports fan, but I like watching them sometimes. They're sometimes interesting.
Exactly.
Like, I don't always know what's happening, but some women, they know everything about the game. Like, they want to play the game, and they should be allowed to.
Exactly.
Women
And
in sports.
yes. And like even with things like fantasy football, I tried to do fantasy football this last season, but then I got into it a little bit too late, so I couldn't. But you will catch me next season, fantasy football league, me, and I probably will lose. But
It's still fun.
it's gonna happen.
Women are allowed to like sports.
Yeah.
The next one's just slightly this person, not anyone specific, not myself. They said getting your spot walked over in a national film challenge by a bunch of men in your group. You know, because they just ignore you and don't include you in the whole entire film challenge, even though they're not on the team and you are.
That one was also not just gender, but it was mainly like age.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
But age is also like, especially like young women in the workforce, like that is also very hard for people to understand sometimes, and like especially because like I feel like I mean any woman in general, but young women especially, because people don't take them as seriously because they're young. So what do they know? But people underestimate. You know, we know a lot more than we may seem like to the average person.
I actually get that a lot. People are like, "There's no way you like know what this is or what this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I obviously like in the film industry, especially people are like." Like, you know how to do this editing green screen effect. Like, dude, I do. I've been in the same class you are. Of course I know how to do it. Like, it's really not that hard to believe that a girl can do the same thing you can.
Yeah. I feel like, too, there's like in STEM, specifically technology, because I mean, that's what we're in. So it's kind of the one thing that we can talk about the most. You don't see a lot of women in the actual technological, like, what? Technological aspect, like actually using camera and like running tech equipment or editing.
Oh, I did some numbers on that.
Except there's actually a lot of women I know that are going into like more the editing side of film, which is awesome.
I actually have a thing about this because only 13.4% of women are film directors. The film industry is male dominated, but 45% of actors are women. But they're mainly casted in stereotypical roles that degrade and put a woman in her place.
Which is also interesting because if we're talking about numbers and you're looking at like stereotypes and like stereotypical like statistics, there's so many things that people could say that like women are more creative than men.
Yeah.
And directing is arguably really creative. Like you're not doing anything with like technical work. It's all creative. The role of directing is completely a creative role. And yet men are still dominating that field because it's also a position of leadership and a position of power, because you're the person on set that's running everything. It's your film. It's your idea that everybody's running off of. So it's not even like people try and say like, oh, well, you know, women don't like tech. Men like that. Men like the numbers and they like the tech stuff, but even still, they dominate like the creative sides
it's
too.
It's actually proven that there's like 20% of women make up the film industry while men make up the other 75%. Or sorry, it's 25% and 20%. And then 25% of women make up the film industry, and 75% of men make up the film industry. So, I mean, women are getting there, but we want to be there. We want, like, you can't just be like, oh, women don't want to. They just want to settle down and have kids. Like, no, we don't. No, I don't. Like, some people do, but I don't.
I don't.
Yeah. I don't.
At least not yet.
Yeah,
not
I don't
now.
want kids till I'm 25, low key.
Yeah.
And by then, I'll already have been in the film industry a little bit.
Exactly.
And, like, speaking of the film industry, we have a lot of kids in our class that want to go into the film industry. Like, we have 46 kids in advanced, and 19 of them are girls, and I'd say about half of them want to go in the film industry.
Yeah, or at least half of them are interested in something similar to film or something that surrounds that area.
Yeah, like I know we have like it's 2 or 3 people who want to be directors, and we have someone who wants to go into script writing. I want to go into camera operating or directing, one of the two. And then we have some people who want to go into editing, and it's like, sure, there's 28 other men in our program who the majority of them also want to go into the film industry. It's still really cool that there's so many women in our program. Because if you look at like a lot of other schools, like when we do All Girls Film Festival, you don't see a lot of other women in other schools in the film program.
So something that we do around the Washington area, and I think it's just this year started to become a little bit more expanded. But something we do is the all girls networking event as well as the all girls film festival. They're kind of two separate things because it is a film challenge that you can submit into. But basically, the only rule is that you have to create a film, and it could be anytime you make this film. But the entire crew has to be woman. And then what we do is we have a networking event for that. And typically we rent out, like last year we hosted it here at Tahoma. And we usually get a whole panel of women who work in the industry. And it's usually somewhere like 10 to 12. Sometimes we have a lot of recurring industry people, but sometimes a lot of times we have new faces. They try and get new faces in. But really, it's women like all over the place. You know, some people even fly in to like come and like talk to us here, and it's really just an entire like networking day to watch the films that were submitted, which usually aren't a lot. And last year we only had maybe like 15 girls show up in total, and there was like 10 announcers. So there was like maybe 30 people in total at this event, and it was like there was no range limit. It was just for Washington.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, only these 5 schools or anything like that. It was literally just anybody who heard about it can come. And as long as you're a student and you're a woman in filmmaking, then you're welcome. Yeah. And we only had like 15 people show up.
I really wish I'd gone last year, but I totally mixed up the dates. Yeah. So I ended up missing it.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience because we all get together and we watch each other's films, and then we celebrate each other's films. And then afterwards we have a networking event where we kind of do like, it'll probably be different this year because this year's it's a lot bigger, and we're also like renting out a theater in Seattle. So it sounds like it's going to be a bigger production than last year. But after the film showing, we all kind of just did like a little speed dating thing where we got to talk to everybody at little sections, and everyone, they try and include people from every aspect. So like hair and makeup, and then editing, and then directors, producers, people from like news broadcasting. And then there was a girl that did like music videos, someone that did editing. There's a girl that did like she like made gore props or something like that. Like she made them herself.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But then she was also a writer.
Oh.
So there's just so like a span of different workforces.
Yeah, like in the film industry, there's so many aspects, and it's like that's why people are like, "Oh, well, women just want to do makeup, or they just want to do this." Like, no, we want to do everything. We want to do everything.
Yeah,
and a man should be able to do makeup too. Just saying.
Exactly.
Like, we're not just talking about we're talking about equality here. Where is my next part? Don't mind me having a whole entire thing about this. Oh yeah, I have more percentages. So women make up only 25% of the STEM fields, while men make up 75%, which is the same number as the film industry. So that like shows a little different. But like women are unrepresented in like so many ways. Like women, there's still a gender pay gap. There's 83 cents per hour less than men in the workforce, which women make $55,000 a year, and that's $11,000 less than men who make $66,000 a year based on that normal pay range of 83 cents less per hour, which is crazy because like film industry, STEM, wherever women want to go, it's expensive. We are not getting in cheaper just because we're girls. Like it is actually expensive because we don't get that money that men are making because the gender pay gap that is still not fixed. It's like women weren't allowed to go to school until 1830, and men had been going to school since the 17th century. Like that is already a huge gap. But then you put in like the fact that women have to pay more for things like the pink tax. Like we have to pay more for tampons. Like, dude, just because they're pink or just because razors are pink, why should they cost more? Like I will happily get a blue one because like that's just stupid. Like women should not be having to pay more for one, menstrual products. That's literally a bodily thing you can't stop. And two, the pink tax, like why does it matter if it's pink? I don't need a pink toothbrush. It costs like $5 extra for no reason. And then you add the gender pay gap, and then you add people already discriminating against women. People don't want to hire women. People don't want to because, oh, she's too loud. Oh, she's too quiet. She's too shy. Like, all of those things. It's like, oh, she can't do that because she's a girl. She should go have children. Like, not everyone wants to be a mom. And if you do, that's really cool. Good for you. That is a job too, and you should be respected for that. But it's like, we should be allowed to work. We should be allowed to have a life outside of children.
Exactly.
And if you are a working mother, you should be respected as a working mother.
Yeah.
Because moms are working. It's literally, I have another study about that. There's like a study about how women in like household chores, they do 78% of the household chores. Like they spend 15.2 hours per week on household chores, while fathers often spend only 6.5 hours per week on the same household work, which is crazy. And like mothers taking care of their children, do you know how much a babysitter costs? Per hour, that's $24 to $28 an hour. Is your mom getting paid? No, but she's doing it. So that's still a job. Like, people should not be disrespecting moms. Like, if you're a mom, good for you. But, like, if you want to work, good for you. You should be allowed to. You should not be forced to just have children, and that should be, like, that's not your only life. Like, you should be allowed to, like, work in STEM, work in the film industry, be a doctor, like, or you should be able to be a painter. Like, people are always like, oh, well, art doesn't get you anywhere. Okay, have you tried? Like, if you're not letting people try to get somewhere and try to figure things out, like, yeah, they should have more than one job if they're going to be a painter and it's not getting them anywhere yet. But, like, they should still be allowed to try. They should not be told, oh, that's such a stupid thing. Like, oh, you're never going to get there. Oh, you're a girl. No, every girl wants to be a painter or a makeup artist or a hairstylist. Like, okay, so what? Let them be it. If they're going to be it, let them do it.
Yeah. And then that's something I've been told a lot, which I think is a pretty like general experience with film. I don't know if it's specific to gender, but it's like everyone you talk to tells you, well, that's going to be really hard. You should not do that. Or, you know, you shouldn't go to Hollywood because that's expensive and you're probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know? Like,
Yeah.
how do you know?
Also, even if I don't make it, how do you know I'm not having fun?
Exactly. Like, what if it's not about making it? Like, why
Yeah.
do I have to be famous for you to determine my success?
Yeah, like, I do not need to be the next Taylor Swift or the next, like, whatever in the film industry just to make it. Like, I don't need to be this big person. I can be whoever I want if I'm enjoying my life and able to survive. Like,
Yeah.
people should not be judging you about what you want to do in life.
Yeah. And I think like with film and not even just film, like the music industry too, people are always like, well, you're not successful unless you're famous, and you don't have any success unless you have tons of money and your name goes on Hollywood Boulevard and everybody knows who you are. But that's not entirely true because
Yeah.
not all of us go into film for the fame. Like, people are camera operators. There's not really anybody who's like, wow, this is the greatest camera operator of all time, unless you're someone that's in the film industry and you're like, okay, yeah, like I can recognize some names.
Yeah.
But those aren't people that someone's gonna go, wow, yeah, like I know that name, or I know that person, or wow, you could tell that this guy was the camera operator for this movie.
Yeah.
But those people are still doing their job because it's something that they love to do.
Yeah.
They don't get recognition for it. They're behind the camera, but yet they're still there. It's not about, I mean, it's nice to get the recognition. It's nice to get like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like I won an award for this, or wow, my movie was really popular. But really what it's about is just creating and being creative and using film as that expression and creating stories.
Yeah.
And to me, if you do that and you're having fun and you have a great crew that you're working with, then that's really the payoff. That's success, not being the next Steven Spielberg or winning an Oscar.
Yeah, like generally I don't think people realize like that, like even if you go into film or anything, like those might not be important jobs to the world, but like creativity is what brings people together. Creativity is what makes this environment that we have. Like creativity is what builds things. Creativity is robotics. It's like the film industry, it's coding, it's all of those things were created by people who were creative. Like making films is showing emotion. It's sharing feelings. It's sharing like happiness, joy, sadness. It's all of those things. It's not just like, oh, well, you're not a doctor. Oh, well, you're not helping the world in some way. Like you are. You are creating an environment of people. You are creating something that is joyful and happy and relaxing to people, or like it's scary and it just brings vibes. Like you would be really bored without your TVs, I'm just saying, or your music, or your
Mm-hmm.
like happy, or your paintings on your walls, or just like the world with no color, basically. Because that
Yeah,
is what film and like music and creativity create, is color, basically.
exactly. And that's actually something that I've struggled with a lot working, like wanting to go into the film industry. I've always been wanting to go into something that I was like, I want to do something that's beneficial. Like, I want to do something that's not
Hmm.
just going to be unnoticed. And that was something that I struggled with going into film because I was like, I'm not sure how this is benefiting anything other than me and like what I want to do. And then I started to realize after watching a lot of movies that it's the message that you send in your stories. Because there's so many movies and so many characters that people like watch a movie and their entire perception on anything really has been changed. Like there's so many movies that I can name off the top of my head that have like such a deep message that people can connect to,
Yeah.
and that really is the great part of film is like there's characters that people can find themselves in, and they can be like, wow, like I agree with that, and then they get to know that they're not alone in that. And then
Yeah.
also like some like themes in movies and stuff like that, just like shedding light on things. And then not even just that, but also just providing entertainment. Like how many movie nights do you do with your friends, you know?
Yeah.
How many family nights do you do when you watch movies, you know? Or icebreakers that are your favorite movies.
Yeah.
It's like it's a thing that brings people together. It's a thing that brings together communities. And yeah, that's something that I've come to realize over the
Yeah.
years.
And also like books are the same way. Like
I'm
you're
gonna
writing
peek my mic.
you're writing a story, you're creating this. Like it's similar to that. It's like writers are like, people are always like,
Excuse me.
"Oh, writers are such a dead end job." Like, no, it's not. I love reading. Like you might not love reading, but your kids are going to love reading. Like most kids
Yeah.
really like books. Like it's important. It like grows your brain. Like also cuz like in filmmaking, you can share really good information. Like we don't just make like fun things. You can also make infographics,
Exactly.
documentaries. You can share what's happening in this side of the world, like what's going on in Russia, what's going on in Japan. Like you
Hmm.
can make videos and vlogs and just share. Or like the YouTubers that are going around now, like they aren't just like skilled in like making their videos, they're also skilled in videography and acting and like all of those things. It's like a whole community, basically. I feel like YouTube actually really branched out filmmakers and made people want to be a filmmaker, which is why it's more of like a, oh, you're never gonna make it thing. But like, look at all the people on YouTube who've made it. I'm just saying, like, there is so many people you'd be like, I don't even know that person, but they have like 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't need to make it to like do anything. You just do what you want and do what makes you happy. And like, inspiring people is what I've always wanted to do since I was little. Like, at first, I was like, oh, I want to write music, I want to act, I want to make movies, I want to be a ballerina. Like, I just wanted to be someone that's inspiring, because to me, art and creativity are inspiring. And like, being able to share your personal feelings and personal emotions, especially when you deal with like your own mental health, it's like you want to share, you want to like create an environment where people know it's safe, where like people are like, oh, this is a good environment, I want to be here. Like that's what I've always wanted to create. Like it's the same in VidPro. We have a really good community here, especially with the women. Like our girls in VidPro, we all know each other. Like we're not all besties, but we're all stick up for each other. Like we all want to invite each other to like All Girls Film Festival. We want everyone to be a participant in that, because it's like something that matters to us and it's like important, which I feel like people don't realize how like important creativity is. It's like women in STEM are working women. Women created Wi-Fi. Like it's a whole thing. Like it's not just like, oh, well, she's a girl, she couldn't have done that much. Like yes, she could. And like it's the same with when I asked these questions on my Instagram, you got some people who responded that were men and who said something kind of stupid, that they were trying to be funny. And it's like, that's not really funny, because you're diminishing the idea of women have been discriminated and unequally treated for the longest time. And it's still happening. Did you know that tampons and pads weren't tested on real blood until last year? That's insane. Women do not have studies done on their bodies yet. Endometriosis does not have a cure. It's been around for the longest time. But yeah, if you search something up about men's health, you can find like almost every answer you're looking for. Sure, they don't have everything yet. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but I'm saying they don't do studies on women's bodies. Everything for like health is just, oh, take birth control. Oh, take birth control. Like It's just giving us hormones instead of like fixing the problem. And women are trying to fix those problems, but they are not getting the funding or the support. And that's another thing I want to do. Like, I want to inspire people. I want to get bigger because I want to be able to support those people. And like, people don't realize that. Like, it's a whole industry of people. It's not just the film industry, it's the STEM community, it's women. Like, we're building a world ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, something that I want to do, which a little bit about what I want to do. I want to go into directing or possibly producing, both or either. But the other thing that I really want to do, which I've always wanted to do since the beginning of me being interested in film, which has been since middle school, was to create my own production company. And more recently, it's become more than just creating a production company, but like specifically a company that creates opportunity for women in film. And I think that that's something that isn't a thing. It's not a thing,
Yeah.
and I think it definitely should be. And also, if you Google it, I could be wrong, because it's been a
You can
while
Google
since
it
I've
right now
Googled
if
it.
you
But
want.
I was looking up things that women have not achieved in the film industry yet, and I looked this up on ChatGPT, and I think it said no woman has actually created like their own like movie franchise that is comparable to something like Marvel or something like that. I don't remember.
Hold on, I'm looking. Yeah, it says no single woman has created a movie franchise as expansive and commercially successful as Marvel's.
And
It,
then there's another one about like CEO or businesses or something
I
for
don't,
film specifically.
I don't see that one yet, but I do see that none of the best director nominees have been women.
Yeah, there's been women that have not been nominated, but none of them have won.
Yeah. And then what do you say about CEO?
And very, 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 very few women actually get nominated for Best Director. Um, and really, very few women in general get, like, what's the word? Not appreciated, but, like, shown, I guess, as directors.
Yeah, I mean, what was her name? The lady who worked in on Katniss.
Hunger Games,
Yeah.
Suzanne Collins, yeah.
Didn't she become a little bit bigger and start directing?
Yeah, she definitely, I think she directed, or at least co-directed, I think she was the producer of all of the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah, and I think she got recognized for that at least once in
And I
some form.
believe J.K. Rowling did the same for Harry Potter.
Yeah, I think she did.
But I feel like that's also slightly different because they're kind of given those rules because they're authors of that story.
Yeah, which would make more sense, but it's still really cool.
It
really
is still,
impressive.
yeah.
But like, apparently I'm dying now too. But it's like women
Dying
should
over
have-
here.
Yeah, women should be in more. Like, we want to be in there. Like, which is why I was really happy that this year mostly like top pop artists were women, like Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan. Like, that's so cool.
Mhm.
Like, that's never happened. Like, Taylor Swift was the best pop artist in the 21st century.
Huh.
I know, and that's like crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I think it was best female pop artist. I don't know. But it's like women can do so much, but we've been like limited. Like women weren't allowed to go to school. We weren't allowed to vote. We weren't allowed to buy properties without a man's name. Like that law did not change that long ago if I'm remembering right. I believe it was only in 1980, I want to say, that women were finally allowed to buy a house without their husband's permission.
Wow.
Yeah, or like own a credit card.
That's only like 50 years ago.
I think it might have been own a credit card, but let me double check. It was crazy though. It's like, when could women own a credit card? 1974.
Wow. That's still pretty recent.
Yeah. I feel like there's another one that I'm forgetting, but it's own property is like the newest, the like, when was women allowed to own property? Okay, that one's still the 1900s, but still crazy. Oh, yeah. Equal credit was the closest one that I could find in 1974. But like we're still fighting for equal rights in everything. Like right now it's Roe versus Wade. We're trying to get rights over our own bodies. Like I'm not going to be political here, but like we should be able to have rights over our own bodies. That's not even a political statement. It's just a fact. Like we should be able to have rights over our own bodies and choose what's best for ourselves and what's medically best for us.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that it's like even a political matter at this point.
Yeah. There was something I lost it. I was gonna say something, but I lost it. But going back to the number you said that there's 46 people in our video production advanced program,
Yeah.
not intro, advanced. And 19
Yeah.
of those people are women. That is a kind of sad statistic. Like
Yeah.
that's not even like less than half. That's
'Cause that-
even less.
Yeah, that
less,
leaves
less,
us with
less than
28
half.
men. That's 28 men and 19 women.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like double the
crazy.
amount of women
But
there.
also, what's crazier is that this is the first year that we've had this many women
Yeah.
in this program. Like last year, there was a decent amount, but I don't think there was 19.
10. I feel like there was like 10 or 15.
Like, yeah, somewhere around there, 10, 15. And last year was the first year that had that many women before. And
yeah.
so I know Mr. Hag tries really hard to bring more women in the program. I know, like, me and him had that conversation when I was a first year, talking about, like, there's not a lot of women in the program at all. And when I was a first year, there wasn't very many. I think there was, like, maybe 6 women in advanced. And, yeah, I mean, we're getting more numbers. And definitely next year, there's probably going to be a lot more women because I know there's a lot of girls in, like, intro right now.
We're also losing some too.
But
Seniors.
we're also, seniors. But we're probably going to be seeing some more coming in from intro. And
I'm thinking
that's
maybe
great.
we'll have about 20.
Yeah.
20, 22.
Which is crazy because literally like 2 years ago, it was only like 10 girls out of 46.
Yeah, and that's like crazy because there is 46 spots in the advanced program.
Yeah.
In general. So it's like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it's not really like because of Mr. Hag or him choosing. It's really just because of the fact that like it's not a very widely experienced workforce that women get into.
Like even if you look in our robotics room, there's not that many girls in
There's
there.
maybe like 10, not even.
I think there's I think there's at least 10 because I have a couple friends, but I know some of them didn't make it in the team again. But it's like there's not a lot of girls in there.
Yeah. And I know robotics also does something similar to our all girls film festival.
Yeah, they have Girls Gen. It's Girls Gen.
Yeah. It's girls in STEM. Basically, it's the same idea. It's like they invite a bunch of robotics teams from different schools, and they invite all of their girls on the team to come together and like support each other with their creations
And
specifically.
like, for girls on like this Sunday, they were having competitions this weekend. It was Tiara Day, and so they got to wear tiaras.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was really cute.
Yeah. Actually, this year's all girls is gonna be next week, next Friday. So it'll be really exciting because I'm wondering the panel they'll have, and it seems like I've gotten a little bit of insight because I'll be presenting at All Girls next week, but it seems like they're completely reconstructing the way that it was last year. Because I mean, this year
it's a school field trip.
It's a school field trip, and we're actually going all the way out to Seattle. They like rented out an entire place, so it seems like there'll definitely be a lot more participants. Because last year we literally just held it in Tahoma, and there was hardly like 20 people here. And a lot of parents actually came with their, because I think I might be mistaken, but there might have been like some middle school, or also I think there was a lot of girls that traveled from like kind of farther away, so their parents stayed with them. But really, it was like
I think you said it was like 15.
Like 15 girls, and then the rest were teachers, parents, or panels. And I think like this year, it seems like it's gonna be a lot bigger, and I'm really excited.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I hope it'll be really fun because it's like I didn't get to go last year. I'm like,
I submitted this year. I did not last year because I didn't know that I could. But this year I did. I submitted 2 videos, and we'll see.
I
don't
haven't
know.
yet.
We don't get to know if we won or not until we see our videos there. Like, so you kind of just show up, and then we all go into the theater to watch, and then if you see your film pop up on screen, then
You're like,
that's when you find out. So we'll find
yeah,
out soon.
That's the fun part, though. It's always like, I love doing that for
Yeah.
Northwest High School Film Festival last
Yeah.
year. Yeah. It was so fun. You just like wait.
It's fun, but it's also kind of like,
Nerve-wracking.
I wish they would just tell me ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because there's also going to be like a Q&A. I think they did that last year. I don't know if they'll still do it this year, but they did it last year. And if they're still doing the Q&A, I would kind of like to be like, okay, I know I'm going to do this.
It's like the Grammys.
When I show
you
up,
don't know if you're gonna win. You just have to like write the question.
Yeah,
you
you just
say.
show up and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's like,
So I'm really excited for that. That'll be
Yeah.
awesome.
It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we could low-key probably wrap up now if we want to.
Yeah,
We've said
probably.
a lot of things. I think we'll just like finish with another interesting fact I have. Hold on, guys. I have more interesting facts.
Every time I cough, it's going to be like peaking my audio. I sound terrible. I don't feel as bad as I sound, I promise. I sound terrible, but I don't feel that bad. You know what else I just realized?
What?
I'm the only girl going to Camp Casey.
Yeah, that's what they wanted you for.
Really?
Yeah, they were. Hag was telling Andy, and he was like, "We need a girl to join. We need a girl." And I was gonna be like, I was gonna say I could, but I can't because I'm busy, and I would probably get really stressed out because I don't do well with like overnight places. But yeah, that's why they asked you. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I'm a little mixed emotions about that because I was like, like, wow, he asked me. But now to kind of find out that it was mainly just because they needed a girl to go makes me kind of feel just like, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think they asked like Alex first or something, and then a few other girls. I don't know for sure though. That was just rumor. We love Hag.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I felt similarly with Nifty. Might have been the same thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, yeah, we are very like underrepresented in the film industry, but I also don't expect any special.
Yeah.
I don't want you to accept me just because of the fact that I'm a woman and you want more women. Like, I want to be more than that. I want you to look at my resume and be like, yeah, she's fit for this job. She needs to be on my crew.
Yeah.
Not just because of the fact that I'm
You
a
don't
woman
have- yeah.
and you need more women.
And I think that's a thing a lot of people struggle with because they're like, oh, well, I want to be on it, but we also need girls. We also need diversity. But it's like, look at those resumes, look for the best,
Yeah.
pick those ones.
And yeah, and that's something that my dad actually deals with because he's a recruiter for Amazon. And they are told that they need to fit a certain percentage of like, okay, you need this many Latinos on the team. You need this many, women. You need this many of whatever. Like, they kind of instill diversity on their teams, which is great. But then it's also like, to what extent is it just a free pass on the team and you don't deserve it?
Yeah, like I totally agree. Like I get both. I'm like, I also see why we need to include more women, but I also get
Exactly.
why it's like, yeah, but then you don't really feel like you're worth it because you just get put there because you're a girl or
Which is the
because you're
same
this.
thing as being excluded because you're a girl.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like if I was just put on Nifty because I'm a girl and then I get ignored, it's like, okay, so you put me there to make you look good, basically. Which is sometimes what it feels like in like the film industry, which I'm not saying that, nothing against Hag, guys. We love him.
No,
We're not
love
aiming this
Hag.
at him.
Nothing
But this
against
is just
Hag.
like, in general, it's like, okay, so we're being put here just to make you look good. Like just to make the
just
numbers
to
look
fit,
good. Just
just
a
to
number.
fit a diversity or to fit like a statistic that you need, that you think should be higher. Which, in a sense, but also no. Like, don't just, let me in the team because I'm a girl, but let me in the team because I deserve it.
Yeah, like look at my stuff and be like, oh, I like her. She has good films. Like, she writes good scripts. She's got good film. Like, that's what we want. We don't.
And then I think that also means too that like the women that end up being like, okay, like your resume definitely doesn't fit this, you know, take that and be like, okay, then go work on your resume and work
Yeah.
for it. And then actually like, you know,
And also, if it's just a man telling you you're not good enough for the team just because you're a girl, don't take that.
yeah,
Just go do better than he's ever gonna do.
yeah. But if it's genuinely just because like,
They need a statistic, then
yeah,
like, and that's why I like the idea of like also because like for like college, my parents have been talking to me about college, and I'm like, I want to go to film school, but I also am like, I should probably get another job first and get money before I go to film school. But that's why I'm working. But I'm like, I'm not gonna have enough money for film school because my boyfriend's going up to Sacramento State, and I'm like, I want to go there because they have a good film program, and everyone I know is going like up to everyone in Midpro at least that I know is going to Cali, and I'm like, I want to go. That's why I'm like, we should all live together, like early.
we should.
We roommates.
Pro house.
Midpro house.
Yeah. We should probably start wrapping up though, because this is a 41-minute podcast.
Okay, yeah, guys. My last thing, my last interesting fact is women were not allowed to vote until 1920.
Yeah, and back then, Black people had the ability to vote before women did.
Yep.
So, and there was still segregation after that law.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
that's not diminishing other people's problems, by the way.
No, it is not. It is not.
That's just making a relative conclusion.
But also, I think at the time too, because we've actually talked about this in A Push. At the time, they were kind of trying to focus on one issue at a time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what the heck?
Yeah, it's like we still have a gender pay gap, bro. Like, give us our 83 cents.
Yeah.
83 cents an hour. That's all
83.
we're asking.
That's like three quarters.
Yeah, it's like $11,000 less a year because of that 83 cents.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy talk. Like, bro, if you can pay all of your men that, you can pay your women that. And if you can't, stop having a business or have less workers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
guys. Well, I think we finished our rampage.
Yeah. Long story short, if you're a woman in film,
We love you.
yeah, and
Believe in yourself.
go do it.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, try again. Try something else. Do what you want. Have fun.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, like just very quickly before we wrap up, knowing what I want to do so young is something that people pressure you into doing, and like if you don't know what to do, then you should know. And I've known that I wanted to go into film since like 6th grade. And honestly, that's a little bit scary. It's scary just as much as not knowing what you want to do, because what if I spend these past 6 years, you know, working towards going into film, and then I finally get there and I spend money on going to college and I'm finally there and I've spent all of this time, pretty much half my life working on this. And then I'm like, I don't want to. I want to do something else. That's scary. And
Yeah.
and there was a show I was watching, I forget what it was. And there's a character, which this leads back to my past comment about how film can help you, and like it can,
Yeah.
it's still relevant. There was a character I was watching in this show, and he played basketball, and he ended up like getting an injury or something, so he couldn't play basketball anymore. And that was like his entire life. He was gonna go pro. And someone, I think his basketball coach or his parent or something, went up to him and was like, what are you going to do now? Like, now what? That was your entire dream. You worked your entire life since he was like, could walk. He was playing basketball, and that's what he was going to do. And he couldn't anymore. He just literally couldn't, because I think it was like a heart condition. And he said, well, that's the good part of it, is I get to make a new dream.
Yeah.
And I get to start over, and now I get to find a new dream. And that has stuck with me for a while. And that has made me not like less scared about
Yeah.
going into the future, because none of this is like, it's all going to pay off. Even if I end up being like, yeah, I don't want to do film anymore, which I highly doubt. There's still so many different like things that I've learned from this program that I could
Yeah.
apply to other things.
Like-
And then I could, you know, if I want to start over, then there's nothing else. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. You're going to meet so many people. It's like,
Yeah.
honestly, I agree. Because my mom and my parents are always like, well, if you go to California with your boyfriend, that's crazy. Because what if you feel stuck there? And I'm like, you can't make me feel stuck anywhere. I could go be an ultrasound tech. I would love that. I could work in childcare. I love that. I have like ability to do that. I could go be a film editor, a music video. I could make music. I could be creative. I can do whatever. Like, I'm not stuck in any place. Like, a place or a town or a job cannot stick me to something. Like,
Yeah.
just because you feel stuck does not mean you're stuck.
Yeah.
Like,
It's never too late to start
yeah.
over
And it's never a bad thing to start over.
or to start something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to try again. Like,
Exactly.
so people, y'all better take that to heart.
Yeah.
Take it to heart because we told you to.
Yeah.
The film girlies told you to, so you better.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 46-minute podcast is terrible. I think this is the longest one.
No, the last one was 48 besides the 10 minutes we cut out.
No, it was 42 when you posted it.
Oh. That's because I cut out the rampage.
I know, but there's no rampage to cut out this time, so it's just straight
It's just
46
straight good,
minutes.
though, because I was, like, throwing the facts in there. We had the evidence. We had the heartfelt. People are
Yeah.
going to watch this one, and if not, I'm going to send it to all my aunties.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should probably wrap up, so.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for the end song?
You know it.